Good morning. All right, we're going to continue what we have been doing, and that is working on this sugar loaf, concentrating our efforts down here. We did a firing operation last night. We had to cease that due to unfavorable wind conditions. Up here, branch 1, we're looking real good. We're looking to consolidate some of our branches, branch 1 and 2, move the lines to distribute the workload a little bit. Red Mountain's holding. Out here, we're still problematic out here along the coast. We're still experiencing some rollout, spotting, but we have gotten lines around those fires. So our objective is to hold those and continue where we're at. The military will be engaged on Sugarloaf and the Mallow Cliff portions of the Sugarloaf that are inactive. So be aware of that. Thank you.
You turn to your forecast in your IP. You notice on the headline there, we have extended the red flag warning for the MEU complex through 2200 Friday now. And to clarify, that is just for the MEU complex. So you may hear other things, but right now the widespread red flag warning still ends tonight at 2200. So again, that warning is extended just for this complex. Are there any Canadian folks here this morning? I think I may have insulted them yesterday because I failed to recognize temperatures in Celsius, so my apologies can be sent out to them. For today, looking for another hot and dry day. Looks like we have a lot more smoke here this morning, and I can't really tell in satellite pictures yet, but I suspect it's pretty much widespread given the fact that we have hardly any wind at mid or upper levels, and not expecting that any wind today either. So with the smoke, expecting your upslope, up canyon winds today to be actually quite light, not a lot of mixing, and still getting up into the low 100s, maybe up around 110 in some of the valleys this afternoon. And RHs are going to be very light today as well, or very low today, still getting down around 10%, a few percentage points higher than the last few days because we're not getting the offshore flow at night. However, that is going to return tonight, so we're getting back dry again on Friday, which warrants that red flag warning extension. So to recap again today, not a lot of wind and just hot and dry again.
Okay, again, the red flag warning is extended for the fire area, so keep a heads up on that. As the conditions work today, you're going to see more of the fuels-driven fire behavior with your hot temperatures and dry humidities. And really poor evening humidity recovery coming in tonight. Your active burning period out here has been running from about 2 in the afternoon till about 1900 or 2000 at night. And if you're in the thermal belt, which is about your upper third of these slopes, that burning period is extending well into the morning with really dry conditions in the upper areas. If you're working the coast today, in the timber out there, we're looking at a probability of ignition today of 67%. Spotting distances can be out as far as 850 feet. If you're interior timber, spotting distances are a little shorter, about 600 feet. Probability of ignition is higher though, you're at 70%. And in your brush, if the probability of ignition is at 100% and your spotting distance is about 550 feet. What does that mean? You get embers that land in receptive fuels, they will start spot fires. Be aware of that. Today, the burning indexes and ignition components, energy release component, all about the same as yesterday. Very little change in that, so everything is really primed to cook. So if you're west of Highway 101 out here, working in these areas, your conditions, we've seen the interior islands that you thought were relatively dead, they're coming back to life and they're burning very aggressively, especially in the afternoon. When you see those kinds of conditions start to pick up and that fire activity really starts to increase, consider where those interior islands are in reference to your line, and especially with these spotting distances that we've got forecast. So with firing operations, we're seeing the firing operation window really start to open once your humidity start coming up in the evening. Get your humidity starting on that upward climb in the evening. You got pretty good conditions, and you can usually burn till about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning with relatively good success, unless, of course, you run into some adverse wind conditions. And the bad news is the conditions for operations up along these ridge lines, especially in the Sugarloaf area, it's going to be relatively adverse with, as the day goes on, rather a northwest push up on those ridge lines. And then tonight, with the offshore conditions, again, you're going to get a northeast and easterly push. And so those ridge lines along the southern perimeter will be challenged regardless of which way that wind is coming at you. As you move to east of 101, fine fuel moisture is again down to 2% today. So again, very dry. Your interior islands are going to burn aggressively where they've got heat, and you got strong runs where your wind and slopes will align out there. If you're working in those areas, conditions on the ridge lines will tend to be either neutral to adverse, but during your peak burning periods, your valley areas though should be relatively favorable for working, and your burn window for firing probably won't ever close. Your bigger question is going to be, when is it going to be too dry for you to fire and successfully be able to hold the line? Aviation operations expect to be severely impacted today with aviation assets having a hard time getting off the ground to get out to help you. Down here in Branch 3, they've had better success than they've had up in the northern branches, but you may have some challenges getting some aviation assets until late afternoon. Safety message back to the red flag. You've got drying of both live and dead fuels, especially in the coastal areas. Stuff that was not receptive to burning 4 days ago is now quite ready to burn and will burn actively once it gets heat. So you expect to see active fire behavior in those areas, and red flag conditions can, that's an indicator that you can have extreme fire behavior produced from these kinds of, once these fires start taking off. So have a safe shift.
Morning. So another day of no heat-related injuries. I have to pinch myself. You guys are doing awesome. Potential still out there, though. Don't let up on that. And anything can happen out on the line. Last night on a firing operation, a live 9mm round went off and hit a firefighter in the back of the leg. It did not penetrate the skin. There's no injury involved, but be ready for anything out there. Starting to see some foot issues crop up. Some trench foot type issues. We need to keep our feet as dry as possible. As soon as you can get out of those boots and air those feet out, do that. We got foot powder in the med